listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. Well, that peaked out pretty bad. I don't know why that initial peak is there. Pulling out of my parking spot here, paying attention to the road. There are some danger zones in driving that require the utmost of attention. So, micro and mini satellites will probably free up some of the space because some of the satellites we have up there occupy a lot more space than is required by today's micro processing standards or processing equipment. So the focus should be on satellites is to reduce the size, within reason. Of course, you have to have some size. And in that way, we'll be able to send up additional satellites. But that would be great if law enforcement could get a line of satellites for its purposes. Now, again, it's a high-tech operation that requires the utmost of oversight. And then in that way, we would be able to better understand what's going on. There was a guy today that asked if they could look for satellite imagery for the area to see if there was anything overhead at the time. But I mean, we're past that, and we should already have something overhead. And again, the idea is even if it's looking at Houston at a narcotics distributor, if an emergency comes up like that, it's going to have to shift. And then it shifts over to that view. And again, if nothing comes up and I don't know what kind of cameras you have out there. Again, they're probably not well-to-do people. And, at first I was like, well, why did he even talk to the guy? I mean, that's insane. And then you find out they were like, had parties together and stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty whacked. Again, it could be allergy season. That guy could suffer from allergies and he medicates himself by drinking. I mean, that's really where the where the data is leading. That there's a lot of other undiagnosed issues within people that are not psychological. I brought this up for years, that people with psychological issues, sometimes it's triggered by simply allergies. It creates a shock in the body. But, of course, it makes no sense. Now, if we do have a ton of cameras and he doesn't come up on them, he's probably laying slumped over somewhere. Quite possible. But then again, if he was part of some system, as far as somebody said, I guess it was a marshal guy, a fugitive guy who was on a big task force somewhere, Chicago or New York or something. He said that, he probably didn't have time for an escape plan. Well, He's an immigrant. A lot of immigrants have escape plans. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of immigrants will have, especially if they're into something. If he's a hitman for the cartel or something, or an enforcer, if he doesn't, he may not have killed anybody. He might just throw his weight around, uh, then he has an escape plan, and most likely involves the people he works with, or the people he paid to bring him up here or bring him up there, should I say? So again, there is always an escape plan for an immigrant to a certain degree. I mean, it's essential American immigrant. There are people in all of our communities that manage the influx of immigrants. If anybody owes money, make sure that happens. I mean, a lot of times it's just threatening people back home, but there are people up here, and I've seen them before. But then again, they get to operate because they give somebody else money. Again, a political donation, whether it's on the record or off the record, will give you such protection. So if there is video, and again, I guess the call was for people that had video with him. Look at your video. Find out if you have video. Find out if the video is there and how much you have, because that's the other side of it. If he's not coming up on video and you have every access point and area covered, then there's an outside chance that he found the way out that you couldn't see. But, it could be that he is expired somewhere or has expired somewhere or by his own hands or whatever. So I guess that would be the next. I mean, if you hit a dead end, just find out how much video you do have. Ask people to call in or whatever it is you do. We're just trying to figure out what areas were covered by video, that kind of thing. Or you don't even have to call, just send an email or whatever it is, or send your agents out to ask, whatever you feel comfortable doing. So to figure out whether, if we have so much coverage and he doesn't show up, then maybe he's within a certain area or something like that. But again, if he's part of something like enforcing for a cartel or coyote organization, then he could just skip town in a second. He could be like 3 cities over, waiting for them to say, "Okay, we'll take you back into Mexico," or maybe not. I don't know. I don't think he'd want to stay in the United States with that charge hanging over his head. All right, you're running into some weird stuff trying to put my Torah arc together. I know it's being cursed, but I'm countering. I think I left those screws I bought the other day at the store. Here's the weird part. I was at Lowe's last night, and while I'm speaking to the person while I'm checking out, I think it was last night. Almost sure it was. Oh yeah, it was last night. I'm looking in the bag. I'm like, why am I looking in the bag? I don't have anything to be in the bag. And when I get home, even maybe before, I started thinking about the screws. Where are those screws? So you see, I may have left them at the counter in a bag, and I have to go back to that store and see if they're there. That was weird, huh? That's how life's supposed to work, though. We're not supposed to have to be blocked, and I shouldn't even have to have left it there. I'm not even supposed to have my art cursed by anybody, especially people in government that are watching by the nature of their profession. Theoretically, of course, it's fabricated color of law, and nobody wants to go there, but that's their problem, not mine. I mean, the key to engaging in fabricated color of law operation is to own the organization that charges that. It's that simple. Well, stay peaceful. Praise